Welcome everybody, Farm Sim Snowy here. So in this video we're going to look at production chains. Now I'm not going to show you all of them, I'm just going to show you a couple, well 3 technically to be precise. Now I have chosen some easier ones but it's not as bad as it seems. Honestly it isn't. Before the game came out, when Giants obviously released more info and it came up about production chains, I read it and I was like, ooh, that sounds a bit complicated. That's going to take a while to learn, but it really isn't as bad as it seems. Once you sort of have a play around and you look at the menus, it does become a little bit more self-explanatory and makes a lot more sense. So we are up here at the grain mill, which is one of the production chains. We don't own it yet, so it can still be used as a normal sell point. You don't have to own the production chains to sell things there. So I've got 8,000 litres of wheat in that trailer. So we're going to head on round the back to the sell point. And we will sell this wheat. Not all of it, because I want to show you something. So this is the sell point just here. I've left all the icons on, the help menus on, just to show you for this tutorial. So start overloading, we're tipping the wheat. If you keep your eye on the money, top right hand corner, don't worry about the amount. I've used the government subsidy to bring some money in. So we're getting paid for this wheat now. I'm going to stop it roughly about there. So we've just been paid $1,795 for that bit of wheat. Now, I want to show you something. I don't know if this is a glitch or if it is going to be a thing. If we come down here, we're going to buy this production chain now. So how you do that is you walk up to this spanner. If you watch the help menu, it says buy production point. So if we click on that, buy building grain mill for $96,000. Yes please. The building has been purchased. Now if you've got your field info on, which I highly recommend in this game because it gives you so much information now on different things in the game, vehicles, buildings, as you can see. So it says grain mill, and then underneath it says owned by my farm, that's obviously us, active productions, wheat flour, barley flour, oat flour, sorghum flour. Next to wheat it says running, because we have actually tipped some in, which is what is the interesting bit. And then barley, oat and sorghum says materials missing, because obviously we have not tipped any in. So it's showing there, building storage, wheat 3,353 litres. It's going down because it is producing flour already. We have 8 litres of flour at the bottom. So in essence, if you can tip all that wheat in there and get paid for it, and it's still going to show in here, why would you not do that? Because technically you're getting some more extra money by doing that. I know it all sort of stays in the same system, but what I'm going to do is show you now. If we tip this in, because we now own this building or this production chain, watch our money, top right hand corner. The wheat is going in, our money is not going up. So we're not getting paid for that wheat now that we've just tipped in. So technically you can earn more money if you do that, which, you know, why would you not? If we come up now, you can see in the building storage down the bottom right hand corner, it says wheat 7,965 litres, because we've tipped all that in now. So how do we access the menus to give us more information about what's going on in this production chain? So you've got 2 options. You can either come back up to this spanner here in the help menu. Now it now says manage production point. Click on that, it takes us to this menu. So that is one way. I'll go through this menu in a second. That is one way of accessing that menu. the good thing about it is you do not have to be up here. You can access that menu from anywhere on the map. If we go into this menu, which I'll just show you is the menu with all your map, etc., and we scroll all the way down to this symbol here, this is your production chains menu. Now if you don't own any production chains, this menu will be empty. There will be nothing there, it'll be blank. But we do own the grain mill. So on the left hand side there, grain mill, it says wheat flour, barley flour, oat flour, sorghum flour. If I scroll down a little bit, you can see there's a blue dot next to the wheat flour because we have tipped some in. Barley, oat and sorghum have red dots because they have materials missing, as it says in the middle of the screen there, status, materials missing. The status for the wheat says running. It also says underneath cycles per hour 5. Now I'm not 100% sure what that means. Originally I thought it might be 5 litres per hour of wheat being processed, but I thought it can't be that because it's going down quicker than that, and that will take an absolute age if it was that. Cost per hour, it's $1, so it's costing us $1 per hour to use the production chain, which isn't too bad. And then below that we've got the recipe. So this is quite handy because if you've got a production chain that requires multiple things to be tipped in to produce something, then it will show up what materials you need. So because this is one of the easier ones, this is just tipping in grain. So it says there wheat 150, I presume litres, and you'll get 120 litres back of flour. It does vary but depending on what type of grain you tip in as well. So look at barley, we only get 113 litres of flour from that. Oats 188 and sorghum 158. So that's saying to me that oats produce more flour per 150, which is pretty handy. If we go across to this menu, incoming materials, again we've got a list there, wheat, barley, oat, sorghum. The wheat is showing 7,929 now. Barley, oat and sorghum is 0 because we haven't tipped any in. And then right down the bottom we've got flour, 51 litres of it. Just underneath the 51 litres it says storing. If you look bottom left hand corner, we have an option there, change output mode. So if I press the X button, I can change that from storing to selling to distributing. So what do those three things mean? Well, basically if you have it on storing, when it gets to 1,000 litres, which is what most of the pallets are going to be for the production chains, and I say most because I think the greenhouses are a lot less. So once that gets to 1,000 litres, a pallet will appear here of flour. Now you can then do what you want with that flour. You can then take it off and sell it elsewhere. So if we go back into this menu and go up to our prices, if we go on to flour, which we already are, that's handy. It's given us 4 places where we can sell our flour. So the bakery, fast food restaurant, grocer Walmart and Johnson's Farmer Market. So then you can choose where you want to take that and get the best price for it. Now, if you change that menu, if you go onto here, and change that option to selling, when it gets to a certain amount, and I say certain because it's not 1,000 litres, I did test it, it actually sold straight away, doesn't even appear as a pallet, it just sells straight away. Now I'm not quite sure what sort of price it's giving you because I don't know how it does it, because obviously as you've seen there's 4 places we can sell the flour. Does it take a sort of happy medium from those 4, or does it just give you a set price and it sells it? But it will sell it automatically. Like I said, I stood here skipping through time and it got to 600 litres of flour and automatically sold, and our money went up. Didn't come up with any sort of fee that we got charged, so I'm guessing you don't get charged. I think that overall charge on the production chain is the actual fee that you only pay for it, so that's quite cool. Also, if we go across to distributing, what does that mean? Basically what that will mean is it will automatically distribute from here to the next sort of chain in the production. So for instance, if I grab my little sheet, because I've had to print off the chart that they released a little while ago on the production chains, what goes where and what produces what. I think it would be quite handy and useful if they could add that chart into the game, so you could just click on a menu and then bring it up. So for flour, we can then distribute that to the bakery. So if we have that set on distributing, it will automatically distribute it down to the bakery, obviously once you get to 1,000 litres. So what I'm going to do, and I know it might be a bit mind-boggling, but it will make a bit more sense. I'm going to skip forward time until we get near 1,000 litres, because then I want you to see a pallet appear there, and then we'll change these options up a little bit. So I'll see you in a little while. Right, so I've got it on ×5. We're at 995, so technically a pallet should appear. Bosh, there you go. We go up to it again with the field info on the bottom right hand corner. It says pallet owned by my farm, 230 kilograms in weight, and it's 1,000 litres of flour. We can't pick that up, so it will need to be moved with pallet forks, forklifts, skid steer loader, anything like that, and brought down. Now I'm not going to show you the selling because I've been through that. Basically it just, you don't even see a pallet, it just disappears after 600 litres and you get paid. So I won't show you that, but what I am going to do now is if we go into this menu, we'll change that to distributing. So technically that should distribute to the bakery, but we don't own the bakery at the minute. So another little test is I want to know if you've got it on distributing, if it goes to the bakery, does it get stored there or does it disappear until you own the bakery? So again, I'll fast forward time a little bit, I'll jump down to the bakery and I'll see you in a bit. Right, so we're here at the bakery. Lovely little building. Like I say, we don't own this yet. I've skipped forward time a little bit. If we go up into the production chains, you can see we have allegedly distributed just over 1,000 litres of flour. So that is what we want to check out. So like I say, this is the bakery, we don't own it. If you did want to use it as a sell point, you can just tip in there. But if you do own this as a production chain, you could bring that flour here and deliver it yourself, and it will then go towards making bread. So, but if you just have it on distributing, it's going to cut out all that work for you anyway. Obviously you can simulate that you're doing it yourself if you want. If you've got like a let's play going, you can bring it down here by all means, but for quickness, just have it to distributing. It do exactly the same thing as bringing the flour here ourselves. What is that? So there's nothing round the back. It's not giving us any info because we don't own it. So let's go and buy the bakery. Same thing again. Buy production point. $50,000 bought. Now at the minute saying storage empty, but I had this earlier. I think it takes a little while to kick in because obviously the time as well. So if we go back into this menu, as you can see under production chains as well as the grain mill, we now own the bakery. So for the bread we've got there, and we've got cakes as well. And like I said earlier, some items will require more ingredients, so look how much the cakes require. So to make the cakes here at the bakery, you're going to need to deliver here flour, sugar, which is obviously another output of one of the production chains, the sugar mill, milk, eggs, butter and strawberries just to make cakes. But they are at a very good price if you do get to that point. So again, similar sort of thing over here. We've got our incoming materials. At the minute it's not showing anything. I know what it is. Under bread here, it's got a red dot there. So if we click that and then activate it, that now goes blue. If I come out of this menu, pretty sure this worked earlier. I'm a little bit puzzled now. Let's skip forward time a little bit because right, what's happening here? That's distributing. So that's still working. Why have we got a running? Materials missing. Oh, there we go. But I think that has... yeah, that is kicked over, isn't it? Right, so yeah, that has worked. I don't know what that was. There was a bit of a delay. So we've got 1,500 litres just over of flour up the top here. That's now going up, and we're already producing bread as well. So I don't know why that took a while to kick in, because like I say, it did work earlier when I tested it. So what I'm going to do again is skip forward time. Could be dark, a bit dark by the time we get to this point, until we get a pallet of bread, so you can see that. So I'll see you in a bit. So our bakers have been working through the night. As you can see, it's very dark. We turn on a flashlight. We're almost at 1,000 litres, so hopefully the bread should appear very shortly. He says we're almost there. Nearly 1,000. There we go. So there is the bread. That looks well cool. Again, too heavy for us to lift, so it will have to be moved around. 1,000 litres again, capacity. So let's just check. Let's turn that down again to real time. What I didn't really show you is the same thing again with the bakery. You've got all the status there, that's running. Obviously cake says materials missing, but it does give you the recipe, like 90 of flour going in, 45 out for bread, and then as you can see you've got to put in all those ingredients like I said earlier for the cakes. But if we go up to our sale point, we could now take that bread on to 3 other sale points and get ourselves a lot more money than we would have got for just the flour. And then if you did make cakes, look at the difference there. Obviously that does take a lot more time and effort to get to that stage, but that's technically a good earner for you. Now, another test I was interested in doing, which I have done separately in another video, which I'm going to show you now, is because this here at the bakery for the bread is the end of the line or end of the chain, that bread no longer goes off anywhere else. If we went to bread and change the output mode to distributing, what happens to it? Because there's nowhere technically for it to go. So that was my little test, which I am going to show you now. So I thought I'd do this little test. We've got a pallet of bread there, 1,000 litres, as you can see. I must admit the bread looks fantastic. very nice detail. But what I wanted to know is, if we go into our production chains now, go down to bakery, I have switched this bread over to distributing. Now this should be the end of the line, the end of the chain for bread. So if you have that on distributing, what happens? Do you lose the bread? Does it still appear? Because we're at 932 litres, so we should be getting another pallet at some point. So I'm going to speed up time like so. See what happens when we get to 1,000 litres. Technically a pallet shouldn't appear there. I'm not expecting it to do so. But where is it going to go? So there we go, we've surpassed 1,000 litres, no pallet. It is still going up, the flour and bread amounts. So I'm going to skip forward again until we have no flour left to come in, and then see what happens. So, it's got a bit dark. We have no more flour left. If we go into our productions change, you can see no flour. Like so, but it's showing there building storage 1,731 litres of bread. So technically we do have enough for one more pallet of bread. If you remember rightly, we had bread on distributing. So now what happens if I turn that to storing? Luckily storing is the next option, because if it was selling, I wonder if that would sell immediately off. So if we change output mode to storing, I don't know if you just saw that in the background. Happy days. So even if you are at the end of the chain and you've accidentally got it on distributing, you will not lose it by the look of it. Obviously that's only on bread, but I'm assuming it's going to be the same across all the production chains. And not only that, in the bottom right hand corner we've still got 731 litres of bread stored in there, so we can add to that to make another pallet. So there you go, that little test over. So there you go, that answered one of the questions I had. Now I'm going to hop over to the dairy, because we're going to look at that production chain, and I have a trailer load of milk, so I'll see you over there. So we're here down at the dairy. I've skipped forward a fair bit because I've recorded this in 2 parts, so don't worry about that. So I've got a trailer full of milk over there. I hope the Elm Creek wolves don't mind me parking the truck there. So like I said earlier in the video, we don't actually own this production chain again. What we are going to do this time is just sell all of the milk at that sell point before buying, and again see what happens. Technically when we buy the production chain it should be there, the milk. That's a bit slow on the off. I think it's because we have got quite a heavy trailer. So there we go, start overloading. If I can get around, we are getting paid. So that is all the milk gone. 45,000 we got for that. So there you go. You may as well, before buying a production chain, sell something there. 45,000, we wouldn't have got that otherwise. So up to the spanner again to buy this. $70,000 for the dairy. Gonna buy that. As you can see, our 32,000 litres of milk is already there in the storage, which is very cool indeed. This is where the pallets will spawn if you've got it on storage. So let's have a quick look at the dairy, just out of interest. So there's 3 outgoing products you can get. So just by tipping milk in, we can get butter and cheese. But if you add sugar to the mix there, we could get chocolate as well. So that's the whole thing with the production chains. You will have some that have got multiple things, multiple ingredients. Now with the butter and cheese, we've already produced 1 litre of butter, so that's faster producing by the look at those stats. You can deactivate one of these, so if we just wanted to concentrate on cheese, we can deactivate the butter and that milk will solely go all into cheese, which is pretty cool. So what I think I would do, just to show you, we've got them all on storage. I'm going to show you the pallets when they appear, so I'll skip forward time and see what happens. I think we'll put both of them on. Hopefully it won't take too long, and we should have a pallet of each somewhere here. So probably be, I don't know, February, maybe March. Well, I'll see you soon anyway. So as you can see, we've got 2 full pallets of butter to the 1 of cheese. I must say these boxes look very cool as well, and look at the cheese. How smart is that? Looks like we've got a bit of brie there, and Stilton maybe is that? That looks very cool. Very impressed with this game, I really am. Obviously apart from the few glitches that we've had. One thing I didn't mention, if we go into the production chains menu again, cheese, it's the end of the line for the cheese, so that can't be taken on anywhere else, but the butter can be taken, or distributed should I say, to the bakery as part of the cake ingredients. So there you go, that's another sort of onward chain you can do for that, so there's plenty to do. So that is where we are at. All I would say though is if you're not getting any pallets out and you're thinking what's going on, just check this menu and just double check that you're not on distributing, because if you're on a item, say for instance cheese, that doesn't go on further to anywhere, you will not get that pallet showing up if you're on to distributing, so just be aware of that. But that is it, a little guide there to the production chains. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, please give us a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, then please do, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos of mine. I've been Farm Sim Snowy. Stay frosty.